We are going to review the introduction day and its importance to help you feel prepared for your first session with your student. It's the same lesson for every tutor and student. However, the book at the end is different based on the unit. We always have an introduction day because the best student learning happens when a relationship based on trust and support is established between a STAIR tutor and student. Students must be comfortable making mistakes in front of you, and they need to know that you will be there to patiently and kindly support them. Also, this lesson helps set STAIR up as a fun place and a place to learn. Take a moment to turn to lesson 1 in your tutor guide. The cover is on page 19 and we will start on page 20. You can follow along as the lesson gets explained. First, at the top of the page, you will see a yellow box which contains a material list. The material list is at the beginning of every lesson, and this is to help you know exactly what you need for that tutoring session. So for your first lesson, we ask that you take time to introduce yourself and explain to the student what STAIR is and what you will be doing each week. Then you can introduce the Get Ready for STAIR checklist. We have explained to parents in their training that a checklist is available to them at the start of each lesson and that it is their job to get materials ready before tutoring. However, unfortunately, sometimes it just doesn't happen, mostly because parents are transitioning their kids from school directly to tutoring and just fall short of time. So it is important to make sure students know how to find their materials as well. Getting materials out quickly and having a clear routine in place helps you maximize your learning minutes during a lesson. As you can see in this picture, when the student has an image or worksheet in their book, you will have it in yours as well, so you can see exactly what they're looking at. I'll point this out again in just a moment. After reviewing the Get Ready checklist, it's time to set expectations. Setting expectations is really important. It lets students know what they need to do in order to be successful. Tutors who set clear expectations have easier tutoring sessions and again, maximize the time spent learning rather than redirecting. As you can see, all of the expectations are clearly scripted to help you explain them clearly to your student. While you are reading, students will have images of these rules to reference as you discuss. And as previously mentioned, anytime a student has a sheet to be looking at in their book, you will have it too. So here in yours, it shows the example. Students will just see the purple page. Then we ask that you take a couple of moments to complete the All About Me sheet with your student. You should be sharing your answers to these questions with your student as well. This is a great time to really capitalize on getting to know your student and having them get to know you. It circles back to our view that building a trusting relationship between student and tutor is important to helping the students be more likely to take academic risks and to attempt challenging work if they feel supported. Also, I can tell you from experience, if you remember your student's favorite color or their best friend's name and work it into a conversation a few sessions later, your student will feel very heard and cared about. Finally, you will complete the assigned reading for the lesson. Students in Unit 1 and 2 will probably need their tutors to read, and students in Unit 3 and 4 might be able to read some independently, maybe some with some supports. This is a great opportunity to see how your student follows along as you read, practice giving directions to turn the page, and to possibly hear your student read for the first time. After you and your student say goodbye, we ask that you immediately fill out a STAIR report and a parent recap. Actually, this should be filled out even if your session was canceled or rescheduled, as it helps us keep a record. We use a lot of this information to apply for grants and funding, such as tutoring minutes and anecdotal stories from your recap. Additionally, your parent recap will be part of this report, and so it is automatically generated to an email that will be sent to your student's parent or guardian the next day, as they are an important partner in this process. I will show you how to complete a form now. So to access this form, it's going to be actually really easy for you. Every day we'll send a reminder with your tutoring time, and there will also be a link so you have easy access to just simply answer these questions. So you'll always put in your name, your student's name, and the date of the session. Then you have to decide whether or not or you have to, inform us whether it's a regularly scheduled session, which it most often will be, or a makeup session. So just for this example, I'm going to click regularly scheduled tutoring session, and then you'll see that the form changes a little bit as you make your selection. So for example, I'm going to put right now that my student was on time. And so we're going to ask you the lesson number, the duration of how long the session was, and then ask you to fill out your recap. If a student is tardy, we have the same questions, but we do track how tardy the student was. And this all goes back to student attendance. We do track student attendance. And if your student is tardy on more than one occasion, we do follow up with them and support you in that way. And then the rest of them, you just click, your student's attendance, and then the questions will alter as you fill out the form. If you ever have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. So now your introductory day is done. You have 10 more tutoring lessons. What do you do? So unfortunately, we can't talk you through all the lessons since each lesson differs greatly by unit, but we can give you tips for making the lesson seem easier. So first of all, please make sure that you are reading our tutor newsletter every week. It comes every week with important updates, upcoming dates to be aware of, surveys, and more information that we just need to get out. It will also have a section for each unit with helpful tips for your lesson that week, things to remember, things to highlight and emphasize. It might include short videos that model how to do certain activities. It will provide friendly reminders or any other relevant information that can make you a stronger tutor for that lesson for that week. So please take your time to read through this newsletter thoroughly. Also, preparation is key. We recommend that you read and add notes to your lesson at least 20 minutes before tutoring. Even better if it is done the day before, because then, of course, if you do have questions, you can contact the STAIR team. And finally, sorry, this is a photo of just, example how to add in your notes. And then finally, when in doubt, just follow the curriculum as scripted. We worked really hard to create this curriculum. And again, it was created by educators who know what they're doing and the way to phrase things. So if you're not sure about something, follow the curriculum. It's okay if your student doesn't master it this lesson. And speaking of not mastering, let's talk about mistakes. Mistakes are part of the learning process, and having challenging work is actually better for a student's growth. But if a student is really struggling, oftentimes tutors try to insert the answer to make the student feel better. And in fact, our tutors report that they often struggle with finding how much work they should be doing and how much work their student should be doing and when they should provide answers and when they shouldn't. Unfortunately, we can't give you a perfect formula for this. Ideally, the student does the most work. We always say you want their voice on more than yours. But we don't want students to hit a level of frustration that causes them to not want to participate any further. The trick is to find the perfect amount of struggle your student can handle without getting frustrated. And this might take several sessions of working with them to figure out. And sometimes our tutors actually ask us to sit in on a lesson and provide feedback, which we're happy to do. If a student can't read a word, give it to them and move on. If a student doesn't get the right answer, say nice try, correct them, have them repeat the word and move on. You don't want to spend too much time on corrections, but you do want to make sure that you're correcting mistakes. Just don't let that interrupt the flow of the lesson. The more the student does, the more he or she will learn. STAIR makes recommendations that are scripted into the curriculum for who should be doing each activity. And STAIR's curriculum is a best fit though. So it's not a perfect science. And some students will not be able to read the books, while some others will just want to listen because they might be tired after a long day of school. Remember that your priority is to keep the lessons positive and fun, and just work to the best of your ability to meet the needs of your students. So thinking about how to direct our students. These are some helpful tips that we've come up with that our tutors have reported helped make tutoring sessions, again, easier. So for this section, please feel free to turn to page 13 in your tutor guide to read along as I address some helpful tips to keep in mind as you tutor. Tutoring sessions don't always go perfectly, and we can't control every factor that affects them. These tips are based on the most common challenges past tutors face during their time at STAIR. Many tutors wonder how to increase student engagement. The best way to do this is to keep the student doing most of the thinking and most of the talking during a lesson. Asking questions is a great way to do this. For example, if a student gives a limited response, try asking them the simple question of why to get them to explain their thinking. Why do you think that? What makes you think that? And asking a question usually gets them to talk more. Addressing some common student behaviors. Usually the most common student behaviors tutors experience are going to be a lack of motivation, low engagement, or frustrations or sadness because the work is challenging. If you are experiencing any behavior that is interfering with the lesson, first try talking to your student to find the root cause. Maybe they're tired, maybe they're hungry, maybe they need a break, and see if you can be a partner in solving that problem. Try reminding the student of the STAIR expectations. Sometimes that helps the student remember what it is that they are supposed to be doing. Unfortunately, again, there's not one guaranteed solution we can give you. It is very much about trial and error and getting to know your student. Sometimes what worked one week won't work the next. Again, if you need support here, don't hesitate to talk to the student's parents. Remember, they are your partner too. And please don't hesitate to reach out to the STAIR team. If your student is struggling to follow along, please make sure that you are giving them single step directions and making sure the direction is completed before giving the next one. Open your book. Wait time, their book is open. Turn to page 2. Wait time, they turned it to page 2. Sometimes confusion can lead to a less pleasant experience for the student. Clear directions will help students understand what to do and then therefore help eliminate behaviors that we're not happy to see. And finally, remember that you set the mood for a successful tutoring experience. While not always easy, try to stay positive, patient, flexible, and please bring lots of energy and excitement to your sessions. This video section has come to an end. Please take a moment to write down any last minute questions and then feel free to start video 3 where we will review some policies, procedures, and any other relevant information you need for tutoring this semester.